boys and girls, students of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes, parents, grandparents, teachers of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes. Good morning. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. For this presentation, we are going to have another story titled Two Best Friends. It's a beautiful children's story that has good moral lessons. The texts are in English and Malay, but the narration will be in English. You have some animated images. And if you are viewing the PowerPoint, you need to download the PowerPoint in order to have some animation effects. Now, as usual, we will have a slide presentation, and I will go over the story and also explain and comment on some of the important points of moral education and Dhamma. So, let us now launch the PowerPoint. But before that, let me check the setup. Okay. Now we can launch the PowerPoint. Now you see the cover slide. It concerns two best friends. Dua kawan baik, kisah kanak-kanak yang indah. And here, of course, you see all the images. We'll tie up with the title. Two best friends. They're always together. They love each other a lot and willing to do things for the other. It's good to have a very good best friend, isn't it? So that is this cover slide. You see this person helping the friend to climb up maybe a hill. Okay, I've actually given presentations on how to find a good friend, on proper friendship, good friendship. You can refer to the previous presentations. Now let us go on to the next slide. But before that, let me stop the video of my image. Okay, now let us go on to the story. That is the second slide. Just now we saw the cover slide. Now you have a look at the pictures and read the English and Malay sentences. So it concerns two good, or you can say best friends. I've given the name Max and Rex. So Max and Rex were two kids living peacefully in a village, in a kampong. Probably their houses were very near, they were neighbors. Dua orang kanak-kanak yang hidup aman, very happy and peaceful. This is the animated image showing two of them playing football. So very carefree, joyful, no stress, isn't it? A simple story. Now let us go on to the next slide, which is slide number 3. Slide number 3 tells you about these two boys, Max and Rex. Now, Max was 10 years old, while Rex was 6 years old. So, Max will be something like an abang lah, to the younger brother Rex. So they were actually just best of friends. So, you see, it's good to have a good friend. And you must make sure you find the proper friends. Don't find friends that have bad characters, that do wrong things, and so on. You must look out for the good qualities, honest, very polite, helpful, cooperative, of good character. All those qualities very important. Don't just say, oh, this person very handsome. So I want to be his friend. Or this person, this girl is very beautiful. I want to be a friend. That is not the most important thing. The more important things will be the character. So you see, so these two friends have similar good character. Now let us go on to the story, which is now slide number 4 now. Now, Max and Rex were often together. You know, they spent a lot of time together because they were best friends. So they would read books together. Imagine, very important hobby. So they would read the fairy tales, right? Or even maybe Jataka stories. And then they would study together also. And they would play together. And sometimes, you know, they have, you know, some food they share with each other and they eat the snacks together also. That is good friendship. Here you can see they were just having fun, playing a simple basketball, just trying to get the ball into the net. You can see here. So this actually is very important for children to play and develop their health, right? The muscles, nerves, and so on. So you have time to study, you have time to play, you have time to rest, you have time to sleep sufficiently. All these are good habits. So let us now go on to slide number 5. This is number 5. So one day, while playing outside their homes in the farms, they wandered into an isolated area. There was no one around in the area. So these two boys were staying in the kampung area, and probably their parents were farmers, so they had also the farms nearby, a simple one probably. So after, you know, they had studied or maybe, you know, they have done whatever necessary, so time to play. So they went outside their houses, still in the area of the farm, the village. But they began to wander, merayau, right? So they wandered and then came to an area that was isolated. Isolated, the Malay word is the pencil. That means deserted, nobody there, right? Nobody would go to this isolated area. So there was nobody around, no people around, no houses and so on. Just an area, just a playground area like that, you know, not really a proper playground. So they wandered, they were so engrossed in their play, they forgot that they were going further away from their homes, and it could be dangerous. So you have to know, boys and girls, that when you play or you go out, you have to be careful. Don't just wander away to, you know, dangerous places. And sometimes we encounter these problems when we bring the Buddhist Sunday school children to visit places in KL or Penang or other places. And now we have the instructions for them. They must go in the groups. You have the leaders and so on. But there will be a few naughty ones on their own. They will wander to a place and then get lost. You know, it's very dangerous. You can be kidnapped, abducted, all right? And bad things that happen to you. So must always follow rules and regulations. That is an important thing for you children to understand. Now let us go on to slide number 6. Now, slide number 6, Max and Rex were having so much fun playing achilo, running, trying to catch one another or kicking the ball. And they did not realize, you know, after some time only, that they realized they were now quite a distance from their homes. They were no longer near their homes, far away already, very dangerous. Luckily, they were not kidnapped, but something happened. So you want to know what happened? So you must stay with the story and then learn important moral lessons. So you see, some people, they are so caught up in the fun and forget important things. They are not mindful. They forget what they have been told and get into trouble or danger. So this is a very important thing. So you can see the image. Now let us go on to slide number 7. Right? Slide number 7. Now, suddenly, the older boy slipped and fell into a well. Now, it was an isolated area, but last time probably there were some people living in the huts. But then, people will move away to bigger areas to cari makan, to get the work, and then to get into areas where it will be easier, nearby a school or there will be shops. But that time, there were people, so there was an old well. You know what is a well? You can see, perigi. In these areas, you don't have pipe water, you don't expect electricity or you have pipe water, you just switch on or open the taps and the water comes. And so convenient for you, you're very lucky, There are areas in the rural places where you don't have pipe water. They have to depend on the rivers or the lakes, rivers, or streams, and wells. So wells still exist, But it was an old well. Nobody was maintaining it already. So this boy, Max, the older boy, so he was so caught up in playing, running here and there, and so on. This is just one of the examples. Right? Probably the well did not have such a high, wall like that, right? Just a low one only. So then he fell into the well, And the well inside, even though not used already, but because of maybe some rain getting in, so there was still water inside. And then water also will come out from the earth, deep there, you have water, right? Wow, so it's terrible already, If nobody were to save him, he could actually, if the water was higher up, he could drown also, isn't it? So they were far away. So what to do? Only 2 boys. And the older one in the well already. And the younger one, Rex, was only 6 years old. So how? Do you just pray, please, oh God, come and lift the person up? That's not the way. You don't think that you pray then when an angel comes from the heaven and then pull you up. No, you have to depend on yourself. So this 6-year-old boy, he could think. And then also he realized the seriousness of this. And of course, you see that he had this best friend inside. So he was a bit concerned already, very concerned. So now let us go on to slide 8 to see what happened. So now you have slide number 8. So of course, Max, very frightened, 10-year-old boy inside the well. So he shouted, help, help, tolong. Kill me. So he was getting frightened already inside the well, naturally, because he knew there was water. And then you would stay there for a long period, and no food or no water. You could drink the water there. So, but then he was afraid the water would, cover his head, then had it already. He did not know how to swim, right? So he was maybe, thinking of how to stay afloat. Now you could see the picture there. Help, help. He did not know how to swim. So poor Max, accident happened because of his lack of mindfulness. Too engrossed in the play, concentrating on the play, not mindful enough. So let us see the slide number 9 now. So the younger friend, Rex, seeing that Max had fallen into the well, of course he was concerned and worried. right? So he was looking around to see if there was anybody that could help. But I said just now, it was an isolated area, nobody around. So when you look around here and there to call someone for help, there was nobody around him. So what will happen? If we were to go back and call, something might happen to his best friend Max already, no time, isn't it? So you mean if we were to start praying, the problem will solve. It's not like that. You find that God helps those who help themselves. You must do something. But he was a small boy, but he was concerned and he loved the friend very much. So let's see what he did. So let us now go on to slide number 10 to continue the story. Then Rex saw a bucket with a rope attached to it. It was old because I told you people have moved out already. But the well, some wells would have this sort of thing, right? You find a long rope tied to a bucket, and then the other end will be tied to a roller or, just a device where you could actually let the pail or bucket go down to fetch the water. You could see the picture here. And here, of course, you have a handle, right? But in certain cases, no, you just a rope that you have to pull. So you see the bucket can go up and down. So when he saw this, so he could also think faster, quite smart, without wasting any time. So what did he do? What did Rex do? He threw the bucket into the well, right? He, make the rope longer, let go because one end tied to a bucket, you see. So he threw the bucket so that the bucket could reach his friend Max. So then he held on to the other end. So you imagine one end tied to the bucket, and the bucket is let down into the well where his friend was struggling there. And the other end, he held on to it very, very tightly, right? You must hold on very tightly, otherwise all the rope all goes down already. You cannot get the bucket anymore up, isn't it? So exciting already, So you want to know how to get this boy Max up the well, how to pull him. He was a 6-year-old boy. So nobody came to help him to pull, right? 6-year-old, just kindergarten. So let us see what happens in slide number 11 now. Slide 11. Of course, this is just an animated image. There was nobody around, actually. These are just to tell you how they could pull the rope and then lift the bucket of water up and then pour the water again and then like that. Those days, so many villagers depended on this method for their water to boil and drink and then to bathe and to wash. So dependent on the well water. So, but then Rex had this thing here. I told you already, one end of the rope he tied to the bucket, which he had already, and then he let it down, isn't it? And then he held on to the other end very tightly. He must not let go. No, if he were to let go, the whole thing will go down and the bucket will be gone, lost inside. And his friend might die also. So he held on very tightly. So and Rex then after that shouted to his friend Max, now you have the bucket near you. You hold on to the bucket very tightly, maybe he was too big to get into the bucket, but he just said that you hold. So Rex told the older friend, which means Max, hold on to the bucket very tightly. No, don't let go. No, I'm going to pull you up. Then you will be safe. Don't worry. Just concentrate on what you are doing. Wow, actually, you could use all those quite matured words. Very smart boy. In that situation now, he could think very wisely and he knew what to say. Actually, there are Some children very smart even at the young age, so don't underestimate these young ones. So now let us see whether he succeeded to pull this friend up the well and save his life lah. So I think if you later on, after all is finished and you want to watch when it is posted in the YouTube and also the slide share, you could actually also read the Bahasa Malaysia sentences. I use Google Translate, but generally quite good, the translation from English to Malay. So you could, in this way, improve both your English and your Malay. So now let us go on to the next slide, which is slide number 12 now. So Max heard the instructions from Rex, the younger friend. So he, at the base there, you could not see that. So he held on to the bucket very tightly, very strongly, followed the instructions. He was scared, so he wanted to get out. He couldn't climb out. How to climb out from the bottom of the well? It's not possible. So he held on to the bucket very tichtly. And then a remarkable thing happened. Rex, the little boy, the little friend, at one end, at the other end of the rope, he used all his strength and kept pulling and pulling. The idea was to get the bucket up. And Max would be holding onto the bucket, isn't it? So he was thinking, in this way, I could pull Max out of the well. He could be saved. So he had that strong belief. He was very confident he could do it. His friend's life probably depended on him already, and he pulled and pulled with all his might, with the fantastic concentration and mindfulness. He did that, and slowly, gradually, the bucket began to rise up, and there was this Max clinging onto the bucket. All right. So he managed to get out of the well. Very happy lah. So you see, Rex saved his friend Max, a younger boy, a 6-year-old friend, saved the 10-year-old friend Max. Fantastic, isn't it? Right? Now, later on when we do the comments, you'll see whether these things are possible. Now, let us go on to the slide number 13. Slide 13. So then Max got out of the well already. He was very grateful. Wow, he hugged the little friend Rex. Thank you. You saved my life, you saved my life. So both of them, as you could see, hug each other very happily. So they were saved already. Very happy. So you can see that Max was saved by the younger friend Rex. One 10-year-old, the other 6-year-old. So now they knew already they had to go back. They were quite afraid in a way already, right? Because isolated area. Not only they realized probably they had wandered into an area far away from their home, and there was virtually nobody around. So got to be concerned. So they said, we better make our way back. And they're quite smart, they could recognize the road and how to go back and so on, right? So let us now go on to slide number 14 to show the return to the village, to the farm. So let us go on to the next one. That is slide number 14 now. So when Max and Rex returned to their village, so it was getting late, right? So everyone in the village was concerned. 2 missing kids. So, wow, they were very relieved and happy to see these 2 boys returning to the village. So, the kampung people all, farm people all came to find out what happened. So then these 2 boys narrated to tell, told them about the whole happening, how they wandered to that place, how Max accidentally fell into the well, and then how Rex, with his clear thinking, used the bucket and the rope to save the boy, Max. Leave him up. So they told everything, exactly like what I narrated just now, the one you could see already. So when the villagers heard this, they say, how can this happen? It cannot be. How can a 6-year-old boy can't even leave a bucket of water, too heavy for him. Now they're telling that he could save the 10-year-old boy. They could leave him up from the well. No, where did you get the strength? No, they're telling the lies. But actually it was true, right? So telling the lies, you say, but actually it was true. Now let's see what happens then. So let us now move on to slide number 15 now. 15. Slide 15. So in the village, there was a wise old man. Actually, it's just a cartoon animation. That time I did not have spectacles, so probably more something like this, right? So there was this wise old man, and he was one of the people who had listened to all that Max and Rex said about the incident, about how they wandered to that place, how Max fell into the well, and then how Rex used the bucket with the rope, and then lifted him up from the well. All this he heard very attentively. And inside him, he was a man of wisdom. He believed what the two young boys narrated. Narrated means to tell. To narrate means told, right? So he believed what the two boys narrated, told about the incident. So because he is a wise old man, so he had experiences, and probably he knew Dhamma also. Now let us see what happens next. And we're coming to important life lessons later already. Now let us move on to slide number 16 now. So then the villagers knew that this old man was a wise man. He was, from the area, the village there. So they asked him, how can it be possible that the 6-year-old small and weak kid, how could he lift up the weight of a 10-year-old kid? Are these two kids lying? How could such a thing ever take place? So many people were talking at one time. So the old man just listened to their disbelief. They could not believe the story told by the kids. But the old man believed. Then the old man explained. That is the important part, where you can learn life lessons. Of course, you have other life lessons that you could learn from the beginning of the story, like mindfulness, being very careful, and so on. So let us see how he explained. So let us now go on to slide number 17. So the wise old man laughed, and they were all talking, how can? He laughed and said, you should actually be thinking of these questions. These are the questions you should think about. And then after that, I will explain to you that what they said was true. First, why did the little boy do it? Why did he do it? Why did he want to rescue his friend? Why didn't he just run back, right? And the second one, how did he do it? Was it according to the method that they described? Or maybe you thought that somebody came to help him, right? But it was an isolated area. And the third question, you would want the answer, where did he get the strength? You mean you have a God from heaven coming down to give him the strength? Or an angel come and help him up? That is a fairy tale. Now we are talking about real life, logical things, right? So you see, I will now answer these three questions for you, so that now you will believe. You believe. So let us now go on to slide number 18. Right? Very important now, the last few slides. So now let us see what happens and how the old man answered and explained the 3 questions. And the answers are logical, very, very good, in fact. So firstly, why did the boy do it? You must understand it was his best friend. So the little boy, Alex, not Alex, the little boy Rex, he was very kind, isn't he? He had great kindness. He had great concern. He was very caring. He had metta. He had this love for his best friend. He was the best friend, isn't it? So, he being the best friend, so he will his mind that he must save the friend. Right? That was in his mind, you know. He had that strong will, you know. And you know very well, mind is the forerunner of all things. The Buddha say, the stronger the mind, the more powerful you become. Actually, there are accounts actually also of people who train the mind. This one involve adults meditation until they could do fantastic things like walk on water, right? Or even fly, isn't it? So the mind is the most powerful thing. So that this boy got fantastic qualities of kindness, concern, caring mind and attitude, and a very strong love. But the better word is metta, right? After I think the third point I mentioned the emphasis on metta. And then also, there were no other people there to pass on negative words. No? That means nobody to discourage him. If there were other adults that say, you can't do it after say you fall down and all those things, that would discourage him and to make the mind negative. So there were no other people around to discourage him. So he had his self-confidence. It's the mind state. The mind was full of confidence that he could succeed. And he had that strong will, that intention to save the best friend. So you can see with such states of mind, the power comes from the inner mind, the power. And then that third point is very important. The strength comes from a very positive and motivated inner mind. That is just how I mentioned already. A very positive with good qualities, motivated inner mind. And then also the metta. Actually, the Buddha taught 11 benefits of the metta. And the one who practices metta, you find there will be fantastic things happening. You have heard of cases where the mother and the ordinary lady, because of the metta for the baby, and the baby, let us say, got stuck in the wheel, or maybe a child somehow or other got stuck under the, maybe a car or something like that. I couldn't come out. So the way was to leave the car. The mother, really, wow, out of great love, metta for the child. And the mother herself could just lift up the car, Whereas it would take 2 or 3 people to leave the car for the baby to crawl out or something like that. But the thing is that she alone could lift up the car. So there were accounts like this also. People with that great metta, they could have fantastic inner strength, inner power. Many cases are described, right? The power of metta. You could do many things. Have you heard of people in situations, right? Because of the concern and good thoughts, they could lift the friend up from a hole or whatever, or could carry very heavy things also. That is from the inner strength. People who play martial arts also, you find because the concentration there, everything, they could also develop the strength. So these 3 points, the old man explained to the villagers, actually enable this boy, Rex, 6-year-old, to do what he said he did, which means to live up Max from the well and save him. Wow, so he actually explained things very, very carefully, and that is true. So this story is an interesting story, right? Of certain things that you have not heard before, of the power of metta and the mind. That's why you have motivation, quotations. You can if you think you can. If you think you cannot, you cannot. If you don't have self-confidence, everything lembek, difficult, cannot, everything, then you cannot succeed. Motivators will tell you this. The mind is very powerful. I can do this. I can overcome this. And there have been cases of people with that strong determination and that fantastic mind of great motivation. It could cure his cancer also. There were cases like that. I'm going to do it. But it's not easy, it's true. But there were cases. So from here we see how important it is for us to have confidence in ourselves. And then for us to develop very important qualities like kindness, being kind, having metta, caring for other people, having compassion, to be concerned with other people, to help them where necessary and where possible. All these will build up your mental strength. If you don't have the mental strength, sometimes you face with a lot of problems. In cases of spirits come, you say, oh, spirits come and disturb me because the mind is weak. If the mind is very strong, you won't have these things happening. The spirits also will like you. They won't trouble you. They won't cause you harm with the spirit. Right? And there were many cases. I have no time to tell you many stories of how that strong mind filled with kindness, filled with love, filled with compassion, filled with concentration and mindfulness. All these incredible things that the person can do. Right? So that's this thing. And then also the second point, do not be discouraged by people. No? Some people would throw a wet blanket. Throw a wet blanket means to discourage you, right? To say negative things. So many you find young people fail not because of anything, but because of low self-esteem, low confidence, no self-confidence. And you don't blame them because they have been influenced by negative people, right? And also some teachers, you see, do not give them the courage, the confidence. You cannot do this one lah. You are too young lah. You have to eat more lah. All those things pump all those negative things in your mind. Then you become weak in the mind. You lack self-confidence. You lack a belief in yourself, like in other words. And you think like that, you be like that lah. So your mind generates the outcome in a way. You send yourself to difficult situations because your mind is weak. So you see in the Dhamma learning, it is very important to do this. You must always develop the qualities of helping others, being kind and all that I mentioned. And then make sure you don't do all the negative things. Killing lah, stealing lah, drinking liquor lah. All those things will weaken the mind because they are unwholesome actions that will cause the mind to be weak and they will bring the negative effects. Don't do those things, which means you must keep your precepts. And the third thing is, of course, the most important in a way, to develop the mind through learning more Dhamma, reflecting, and then thinking about them and practicing what is being taught in the Dhamma. Meditation, also very important. So all these things you will do, you get the power of the mind. So this young boy, Rex, probably was special. Maybe from his past lives, he had good qualities. So he had all these qualities. So not really surprising that he could do a fantastic thing. You say miracle, but it's not a real miracle. It's the power of the mind. Now let us go on to the last slide already, slide number 19. So I hope you understand these three very important points. Now later on, you have opportunity, you can read the Malay text. Now we go on to the last slide. This pertains to life lessons, or what we call pelajaran hidup. You can also say moral lessons, Dhamma lessons that will help you to live better in your life, to be more peaceful, to be more happy, to be more able to face with any situations that give you problems, any difficulty, any trouble. Now, because you have a good mind, then you can cope, you can face with this. You have many cases today, and because they did not learn Dhamma and so on, so there were even cases of doctors got a problem already, cannot cope with it. The girlfriend lari already, so jumped down from the high-rise building, committed suicide. And you also have heard of, wow, very famous pop stars, K-pop dancers, singers, actors, actresses. Wow, very rich, and also they have education. They've gone to universities and so on, but they have not learned the Dhamma to build up the mind strength, the strength of the mind. So when there is a problem, right, they cannot handle already. Isn't it? So that's why you have suicide cases among the young people going up. So now you see how important it is to learn the Dhamma and practice. So now let us look at these points, important things. We must listen patiently, mindfully, again and again until these things are really tanam, embedded in the mind. That's how you grow in the mind, in wisdom, right? In understanding and compassion. Now, this is what is written. You can be successful and achieve almost anything. As I said, I told you, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. If you think it's going to fail, you will fail. Because you don't have the confidence and your mind is weak. You can't think clearly, you can't think well. Right? You can't think wisely also. So such a mind will invite a lot of suffering, trouble, problems. Whereas the other way, the mind is positive. So be careful of this. First, you must have self-confidence, right? And it's important as a Buddhist, we must have confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Confidence that the Buddha, the enlightened one, perfect, confidence of that. And then also, refuge. This is what is going to protect you in the Dhamma, his teachings. You're confident, you have faith, F-A-I-T-H, in the Dharma. You have trust in the Dhamma. You know that if you take the Buddha as the model example, follow his lifestyle, and follow his teachings diligently and ardently, then you're on the right track. And then also you have the cultivated monks or the good Dhamma teachers that they sort of set examples for you. So they also help you. So this is the refuge that will give you the protection. Refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Sangha can refer to the cultivated monks or nuns, and it can also refer to the lay people who are practicing Dhamma very well. They can help and guide you. So that is this thing. So that is this thing. Do not be discouraged by others. There are many negative people around, you cannot, you're so bad, this and that. They say all these negative things. You don't listen to all those negative things. But if they give you advice, good advice, you know how you can improve this or this, then you can listen. But many people, they don't give any good advice. They just criticize. They criticize, they complain about you, they condemn you, they curse you, everything. All those are useless things. But the person who is caring, concerned, compassionate, no doubt you have made mistakes, but they will try to help you with the advice so that you can improve. Are you associate with this type of people? You must find out, right? These are the friends you must have. So that is an important thing. Do not be discouraged by others' negative things, never really help with constructive things. Develop your faith, your self-confidence, and as Buddhist, you take refuge in these three: Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. The second thing is you have a strong and positive mind. Now, to have a strong and positive mind, one thing is this: you must understand the Dharma clearly. Otherwise, you'll be very superstitious. You they're not go to that place, very dark. That makes your mind weak. You are fearful now. You have no clear understanding. So that sort of mind will not help you. Superstitions, wrong beliefs. Some you go and listen to, you have to be careful of whom you listen to. Right? Some ask you, every day you chant 1,000 times this line and so on. Then you get all the A's. Of course, that's nonsense. If you don't study and build up your mind, everything, how can you get the A's? So do not be led astray by people who are not truthful, not genuine. They may be con men, You have to follow the right teachings, like go to proper Buddhist Sunday school, or you read proper Buddhist Dhamma books, and you develop your mind and character. Your mind is always positive. You think of the good things and you find these qualities all begin to go up. Your kindness goes up. Your compassion. You are more helpful. You are more polite. You are willing to help, service. All those good things all grow in your mind. That is the development of the mind. And be positive. I can solve this problem. I can do it. Right? I will try my best, everything. That will be positive way. Cannot one, brother. A teacher, sir, very difficult one, like that. This, let's say, very difficult. All these are negative states of mind. So it will not help you. That is this very important second advice and second point. To have a strong and positive mind. And the best way is to learn, understand, think carefully about, and practice the Dhamma. Then naturally your mind will become strong. You are not superstitious. You don't worry unnecessary. You worry, and then you regret, you feel guilty of something that maybe you did wrong earlier. Yeah, everybody does wrong, but then you will take the step not to repeat. You acknowledge them, right? But some are, so scared, so worried, and then all these will weaken the mind. So basically, it's positive states of mind. Now, the third one is also very important. It's about what? The practice of metta or loving kindness. I think in Sunday school, you all have practiced, right? Sunday, during the puja, after the puja, there's this short meditation on loving kindness. I think all those in Sunday school would know. To send metta, actually the best translation is loving kindness. 慈爱, 主逼, Hokkien. To send the good thoughts of goodwill, benevolence, kindness, love to yourself, and then also to others, like your parents, your grandparents, or family members, and then to your teachers and friends. So the mind is very, very good with good thoughts of love and kindness. And the benefits are fantastic. In the scriptures, the Buddha talk about 11 benefits, but I'm not giving the talk on the metta. I think I posted somewhere. So the powers are very, very great, as I've told you. The mother with great love and metta for the child can do fantastic things. Let's say robber comes, wants to harm the child, right? The mother, ordinary, very, soft person. But because of the metta for the child, the compassion, suddenly the mother got so good strength, can give a fantastic karate kick, and robber will fly off. Isn't it? So never underestimate the powers of metta. So this you need to practice. Then only you can see and get all the benefits of metta. Now maybe I should read in this last slide the Malay version. Because many students are better off in the Malay than in the English. But you actually have to know both. Many are very poor in English, even teachers, even adults now in the country, very, very poor standard of English. People are laughing at the English that is being used, you see. So maybe now this one is for Dhamma purposes that is important to understand. Before that, you just see a very interesting animation. I can do it. I can do it. So positive thinking. Anda boleh berjaya dan mencapai hampir semua perkara jika pertama, anda tidak berkecil hati, discourage dengan orang lain, tetapi yakin dengan diri sendiri. Anda boleh melakukannya. Jangan kecewa, jangan berkecil hati, jangan berfikir dengan negatif. Jadi ini menghalang anda berjaya dalam apa-apa yang anda ingin buat, projek lah atau satu tugas dan sebagainya. Kedua, anda mempunyai fikiran yang kuat dan positif. Itu tadi saya terangkan apa maksud. Actually, you can use also the word minda for mind. Here the translation they use fikiran. The mind adalah kuat dan positif. Tak mau fikir tentang yang negatif, yang merendahkan kekuatan minda anda. And the third one, anda sentiasa mengamalkan metta. The translation given kasih sayang is okay, right? Mengamalkan, as I've said to you already just now, the Pali term is metta bhavana. Meditation on loving kindness. Kuasanya hebat. Ada seperti yang diajar oleh Buddha, boleh seseorang yang mengamalkan metta boleh dapat 11 faedah. Now, ramai sudah mengamalkan metta dan sendiri boleh rasa faedah daripada amalan metta. You can actually get the benefits and then experience for yourself if you practice the metta. So now we have come to the end of this presentation of 19 slides with a very, very beautiful story. It's a very simple story of two best friends, right? And how with the good qualities of the mind of this young boy, he could save the older friend. Incredible, isn't it? It's very hard to believe, but the wise old man had explained to you already so very clearly and well of why he could do it and how he could do it, isn't it? And those are actually our teachings also in the Dharma. Positive mind, metta, confidence, and I mentioned to you very important thing is the satta or the faith, the confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And when you have that and then practice, a lot of good things come into your life. And even if sometimes unfortunate things happen because of your good practice, because of your good understanding of the Dhamma, you could cope. You could handle the problems and even resolve them better than another person that has no knowledge of Dhamma at all. He only knows how to enjoy himself. So when the problem arises or trouble comes, wow, I tell you, he will experience much suffering and pain because he doesn't know how to handle really. That's why you have today so many having problems of the mind, stress, anxiety, worry, fear, and then develop illnesses of the mind, what we call psychiatric disorders. And the most common one, depression, Even now, young children, suffer from depression. Young children also will worry and the minds are not happy, joyful, peaceful. Something has gone wrong. So parents have to be careful, give them the proper Dhamma education, and then they will grow up to be very happy, peaceful, and meaningful life. They will lead a meaningful life, a life that is peaceful, happy, meaningful. So now we have come to the end of this presentation, which is titled Two Best Friends, a Beautiful Children's Story. But actually, this story also can be read and reflected upon, not just by children, I think, even by youth members, even by adults, uncles and aunties, because they also apply to them also. All the points of metta, positive mind, confidence, satta, and all this still apply. So don't think this is just only for children. No doubt lah, the story is written down there as a children's story lah. Okay, so now before we say sadhu 3 times, right? I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, boys and girls, students of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes, all students are elsewhere who are listening, and also all maybe youth members, and parents and grandparents, and also teachers of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes. I would like to say thank you and sadhu to all of you for taking time and energy to follow this presentation. You have put in effort and you have been mindful in following the presentation. Hope that you have learned good Dhamma from this presentation. So now let us put our palms together and say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May all be well, happy, and peaceful. And may the Dhamma be with you always. Take care.